It's officially time to freak out. We are halfway through the year. Are we freaking out yet? I'm not freaking out, but this is the mid-year book freak out tag. It's like a little mid-year check-in, kind of talking about the books you've read so far up to this point. Counting the ones I'm in the middle of right now, I am up to 14 books in the middle of June, which for me is pretty good. The first question on this list of questions for me was actually the hardest. It is the best book you read so far this year. I feel like I read some really good books this year, and it was a toss-up between like 5 different books. But I am going to say that the best one so far this year will be the one I started the year off with, Tress of the Emerald Sea. Ta-da! Part of that could be due to the anticipation I had for this. Paying my part of the Kickstarter last year, having to wait months for this, having it be a secret, and then New Year's Day, first day of the new year, having it just sent to me in digital form. I started my year off with this book. Not this physical book, but with this story, and then had to wait several months for the actual book. But part of what I loved so much about this one was I'm already a fan of Brandon Sanderson. I like his big epic fantasy, and this one felt like he was just having fun. He was writing a story he liked to write, no pressure. He wrote it for his wife. It's an adventure story. It's a sweet romance. I really liked Tress the character, so I was on board to follow her through her adventures. And while I read other really good books this year, I'm gonna say this one was the best one. It also has really beautiful art. The second of these questions is, what is the best sequel you have read so far this year? I have been trying to finish the series I'm working on, so I have read several sequels. I'm gonna say the best one so far has been Ship of Destiny. I just finished this last week, I think. This is the third installment of the Live Ship Traders trilogy in the wider series, The Realm of the Elderlings by Robin Hobb. And by the third book, you are at least I, was very invested in the characters. The human characters, the non-human characters. By the third book, there has been a lot that has happened to the Vestrit family, to their home in Bingtown. The serpents you feel like you are rooting for and hoping that they get what they deserve, or at least what they're going for and trying to achieve. And one of the characters, at least, maybe more than one, you're not really sure whether to root for or not. Like, do you really want things to work out for him? Sometimes I like that feeling when a character is really well written and you're like, I don't know whether I want to root for this character or I don't want it to work out. I guess that means my feelings were invested, so good job, Robin Hobb. In my Live Ship versus Farseer video, one of the things that I said was different about this series versus the Farseer series was the sense of hope through it. So even though really terrible things happen to some of the characters and they struggle and they get really brought down, I still felt like I could hope for everything to turn out okay for them in the end. It was really emotional. I felt like the character arcs were mostly earned and went in a good direction. There was one character arc and situation that I really hated and I don't think needed to be in there, and at one point almost ruined the book for me. I think I'll talk about that more when I do my character studies from the characters in this book. But besides that one thing, this was a very good sequel wrap-up. The third question is, what new release have you not read yet but want to? For me, that's probably going to be the next 2 secret projects from the Brandon Sanderson Kickstarter. It is the year of Sanderson this year. The first 2, Tress of the Emerald Sea and the Frugal Wizard's Handbook for Surviving Medieval England, were really enjoyable. They just read like fun adventure books. The physical books are beautiful. I think one of them is going to follow Hoyd, our friendly neighborhood world hopper, and I'm not sure what the other one is. But those are 2 books I've been waiting for a long time. And I want to see what else Mr. Sanderson has thought of while he sat at home during COVID times and wrote for fun. Question 4 is like question 3, but different. What is your most anticipated release for the second half of the year? I'm gonna say that's probably the 5th Dragon book by Christopher Paolini. He announced earlier this year that the 5th book would be coming out in November. It's going to be a direct, not sequel. I don't know that it's continuing the inheritance cycle or if it's going to start a second cycle, but it's a direct continuation of the story following Murtagh. And if you have not read past the first book, Aragon, and you're wondering why the next series might start with Murtagh, you should probably keep reading the Inheritance Cycle and find out why. But those are some of my favorite books from my young adulthood, starting my journey into epic fantasy, and I'm really looking forward to that fifth one. More Allegasia, more dragons. A lot of the books I read this year have dragons. The fifth question is your biggest disappointment? I don't think I was disappointed in any of the books I read. I had some disappointing moments. I didn't start any book and think I'm disappointed in this book as a whole. Ship of Destiny had an occurrence that I was not happy about. I don't know, probably like little character development situations, little things that I might have wished had gone differently in different books, but there was no just disappointing book so far. My biggest disappointment is that I don't have more time to read. Could use some coffee. Question number 6 is, what was your biggest surprise? I'm gonna say how much I have enjoyed the young adult fantasies that I've read. When I started Skyward, I almost put it down. The main character was a teenager. I didn't feel like I was really connecting with what was happening with her and her place in her life, but I kept going, and then I really ended up enjoying the book. I had originally intended to finish the series because the final book is coming out at the end of this year. After finishing the first one and having a little space of time after it, I felt a draw to read other things before continuing the Skyward series, and I feel fine with that. Not because I didn't enjoy the book, I actually did, which was what surprised me. I just felt like reading other things. And I did start reading Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. I'm hoping I'm saying that right. It's the new big viral popular book, and I was going to not read it because everyone's reading it. But I decided to try it for myself, and I am enjoying it. I will save most of my thoughts on it for after I finish and make some videos about it. It is another book with dragons. It's very cutthroat. The first death in it surprised me. My jaw actually dropped a little bit because I wasn't expecting it, but I think it set the precedent for characters can just die at any time. So you might try not to get too attached to anybody right at first. But despite the fact that it is a beautiful book, I am reading it on ebook because it's out of stock everywhere. Couldn't get it for weeks, if that tells you how popular it is right now. Question 7 is, who is your new favorite author? Whether it's a debut author or just new to me. I have not had much variety this year. It is the year of Sanderson, so I've read a lot of Sanderson. I've read Robin Hobb, which I have read before, Robert Jordan. The two authors that were new to me this year were Heather Fawcett, author of Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies, and Rebecca Yarros, author of Fourth Wing. I really loved Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies. I really enjoyed The Grace of Wild Things, also by Heather Fawcett. And I'm really liking Fourth Wing, but they are very different. Different authors, very different writing styles, completely different feel in the books as you read them. If I had to choose between those two being an author I like better, I might choose Heather Fawcett. I don't know. The Encyclopedia of Fairies was just so cozy. She's a fan of Anne of Green Gables. I'm trying not to be too judgmental here, but Fourth Wing has a lot of language, which is not really my thing. It doesn't make the story bad. It's just, it stands out to me because I don't like it. So, answer to question 7, Heather Fawcett. Question number 8. Who is your newest fictional crush? No. Why is this even a question? Do people get crushes on fictional characters? I don't know. I am not that type of person. I have never had a crush on a character in a book. I don't know. Seems weird to me. I can say that there are characters that have qualities that I admire, that I would like in a real person. I feel like saying who any of them might be and why might be spoilery. Wax from Mistborn Era 2 does try really hard in his relationship. He's hung up on his old relationship, he's in a new one, and he is trying. He's trying to accept her as she is, he's trying to be good to her. I do admire that. Bamblebee from Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies was cute. I liked how he treated Emily, how he spoke about her. I think there's a lot of ladies who really like Brashen from the Live Ship Traders, but none of that counts as a crush, and I think it's weird, so pass. But question number 9 is newest favorite fictional character. I feel like this is a really easy one to answer right now because I'm in the middle of the Bands of Mourning and I made a video about her and I am Team Steris all the way. I say all the way. I haven't finished Bands of Mourning and I haven't read the 4th book yet in Mistborn Era 2 by Sanderson, but I really love Steris. She just resonates with me. I relate to her so much. She does not get enough credit in the book. I feel like when people talk about her in real life, online, whatever, it's always positive, but I don't see people talk about her enough. It's often about Wax and Wayne. They're more main characters than she is, I guess. But the way she just recognizes what kind of person she is, she knows she is super awkward. She tries so hard. She has little things she does to help her with her social awkwardness, with her anxiety. She has trouble believing that people will like her for who she is, which is probably why I appreciate Wax so much, trying so hard. I also really liked Emily Wilde as a character. And Tress of the Emerald Sea. I really liked Tress. She was kind of that quiet, introspective type. She would be observant. She would learn things by watching, and she was very brave. She decided she was gonna go do something, and she went and she did it. I admire that about her. Mid-year book freakout. Question number 10. What book made you cry? That's not quite fair, because I cry easily. The Hobbit. I don't remember why. I think it was at the end of the Battle of Five Armies. And I've read it so many times, I shouldn't be surprised by the emotions. Maybe the anticipation of those emotions just helps them come up, even if I know they're coming. And Ship of Destiny. I had a little emotional moment during that one. There was a moment of characters reuniting that really got me. I really appreciated that moment. Question 11 is what book made you happy? That one I think is easier to answer. Definitely The Hobbit. That one is an old favorite. It's nostalgic. It is one I pull out every once in a while just to mood read because I feel like it. It brings back all the old emotions of having read it for the first time. I really relate to Bilbo. If you want to know how I feel like I relate to Bilbo, I do have a video called A Hobbit's Life for Me. You can go watch it after this if you wanna. I just love that book. It makes me happy. Also, probably Tress of the Emerald Sea, Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies, The Frugal Wizard's Handbook, The Grace of Wild Things. I mean, almost half of them. Question number 12 is what is the most beautiful book I have acquired this year? That is going to be difficult to answer, but I will show you a few of my beautiful books I got this year. I'm not sure I can decide between these 3 books, so I will show them in the order in which I received them. The first being Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies. I love the fantasy kind of fairy style art on this. I love the dark color, the purples, the lettering. I think it is beautiful. Next, and you have already seen this one, Tress of the Emerald Sea. I'm a big fan of green. I know it's not everyone's favorite color. It just feels foresty, like life and growing things. I know in this book it represents the sea that's very deadly, but that combination of green and gold is just so pretty to me. The special edition and the art inside is also beautiful. This is my favorite art piece. The different sections start with these vines. I don't know, it's just really pretty. Probably prettier than Emily Wilde's. And this special edition of The War of the Worlds by H.G. Wells. I love that foiling, the foiled edges. I have not read this one yet. I don't know when I'll get around to it. My brother donated this to our yard sale and I took it out of the box and said, I'm not putting that in the yard sale. I'm gonna put that on my bookshelf. I didn't tell him that's what I did with it. And I don't know if he watches these videos or not, but thank you, Lewis. So I don't know. I can't pick a favorite. Why don't you comment and tell me which one of these you think is prettier? That'll help me out. We're almost done. There's 2 questions left. Question 13 is, what books do I still need to read before the end of the year? I don't know. Do I need to read anything specific? I'm working on finishing Mistborn Era 2. I'm working on The Wheel of Time. If there's anything I feel like I need to read before the end of the year, that would probably be books 2, 3, and 4 of The Inheritance Cycle by Christopher Paolini, because I want to read them before book 5 comes out. Also, I did say I was going to reread Dune in October. So Inheritance Cycle and Dune are the ones I need to read before the end of the year. It's already June. Okay, I should probably get on those. July, August, September. Time is getting away from me. The final question is what content creators I have been enjoying. I think this is a great question to promote other people that you admire and get more eyes and a bigger audience for those other people that you think are doing a great job. I'm only going to say 2. One of them is a booktuber. Her channel is called The Book Leo. She doesn't read a lot of the same stuff I read, but the few videos I've watched, her style is very cozy. She knows what she's talking about. Not only has she read a lot, but she understands really well why she liked what she read or why she didn't like what she read. She's very honest, and I appreciate that. She's also not from my country of origin, so I really like listening to her accent. She's a pleasure to listen to. And then on Instagram, an artist I've really been enjoying, a watercolorist named J.hunsung. I hope I said that right. He's from Korea, and his paintings are amazing. I often share his work to my stories on Instagram. I will link both of those. I will put the questions in the description, so if you watching this are a booktuber, you can just easily steal those to use. Let me know what you're reading and enjoying right now. Happy reading, and I'll see you next time. Bye. Done.